Hello friends, let's talk about the most happening and hot topic right now, Durandhar 2. Now, this video is not going to be a review of the film as most of you would have already seen it, and for those who haven't, please do take the time and watch it. Yes, it's long, but unlike some other long films, this one actually uses your time properly. This video is about something else because Durandhar 2 has done something very rare in today's India. It hasn't just entertained people, it has perfectly divided them. My left-wing communist friends, they absolutely hate the film. And my right-wing Sangi friends, they absolutely love it. I'm enjoying this love-hate war almost as much as the film itself. It's like watching two WhatsApp groups fighting each other, but with better vocabulary and worse patience. On one side, people are shouting propaganda, and on the other side, people are saying finally the truth. And somewhere in between all this noise, there's actually a much more interesting conversation. Not about politics and not about ideology, but about filmmaking. And before we get into that, just a quick thing I noticed. Almost 99% of the people watching my videos are not subscribed, which means you guys are watching, analyzing, judging, but not committing. Very Bollywood behavior. So if you're enjoying this kind of content, just take a second, hit subscribe. I swear it's not going to cost you anything. It genuinely helps the channel grow, and I'll keep bringing more such content. Now, coming back to the film. Whether you love it or hate it, Durandhar 2 has changed something fundamental in how Indian films, especially the spy films, are made. For years, we have been told one golden rule: mass hai, logic mat dekh. Helicopters flying, physics resigning mid-scene, villains waiting politely like they've taken an appointment, and somewhere in between all that, agents saving the country. After finishing a song in Switzerland, the two. And we all accepted it because it looked cool, because background music was loud enough to distract us, because slow motion makes everything look important even when nothing is happening. But Durandhar 2 does something very dangerous. It assumes the audience is intelligent. I know it's a risky move. It doesn't say, don't think, just clap. It says, think. And suddenly, you're not just watching a hero, you're inside the operation. You feel the tension. You see the consequences. You understand the stakes that are at hand. This is not just mass, this is immersive storytelling. And once you experience that, going back to leather jacket entries and wind machines feels like rehearsal footage. Now, let's talk about something Bollywood had struggled with for years and years. How to show characters without dragging an entire community into it. Because for the longest time, the shortcut was simple. If you need a villain, just make him put on a tilak, give him a choti, zoom in, background music, and it's done. Character development is equal to outsourced costume development. And then comes the spiritual logic of Bollywood. Something goes wrong, then go to a temple, shout at the god, put in a dramatic dialogue, say that you're not God, blah blah blah. Whereas if you go to a dargah, suddenly things will start working out because apparently even the screenplay had its own political leaning. Now compare that with Durandhar 2. No mocking, no forced symbolism, no need to insult one side to look progressive. It respects all religions and still tells a strong story. Which makes you wonder, all these years, was this really creative bravery or just lazy writing with good lighting? And then comes the favorite word of the week: propaganda. Because today the definition is very simple. If you agree with it, it's cinema. If you don't, it's mere propaganda. It seems very convenient, but let's be honest. No film is 100% reality. If it was, you'd be watching it on Discovery Channel, not in theaters. Cinema will always take creative liberty. The real question is how responsibly it is used, and Durandhar 2 uses it well. Because most of what you see is rooted in reality. Events may be compressed, but the core incidents have actually happened. So, calling it propaganda just because it makes you uncomfortable is not analysis, it's mere reaction. And this is where the criticism becomes very selective. You see voices like Arfa Khanum Sherwani and Abhisar Sharma suddenly very concerned about balance, nuance, responsibility, which is great and we can welcome it as well. But then the question is, where was this same concern earlier? Because Bollywood has made films for decades with very clear perspectives. Films like Firak, Parzania, Shikara, Haider all had strong viewpoints, and back then they were called bold, brave, and even necessary. Awards भी मिलते थे, panel discussions भी होते थे. Everything was fine. But now, suddenly we have a problem. Suddenly we discover propaganda. Almost like a software update overnight. Which makes it clear this is not about propaganda. This is about comfort zone. And here's another thing that honestly makes zero sense. This idea that the film is targeting Indian Muslims. How? Where? What is the logic? The film is dealing with Pakistani terrorist networks, Pakistani secret operatives, specific antagonists. Now, just because those characters are Muslim, how does that become anti-Indian Muslim? That's like watching a mafia movie and saying it's anti-Italian. Nowhere in the film are Indian Muslims shown negatively. No slogans, no targeting, no generalization. What the film shows is very specific. A set of individuals. And mind you, they are not even the general public, just operatives, gangsters, people like Major Iqbal who are involved in anti-India activities. That's it. So, turning that into anti-Indian Muslim is not just a stretch. It's Olympic level long jump. And this is where debate completely loses logic. Because if every villain needs to pass a diversity check, then storytelling itself becomes impossible. And thank God, no raw ISI love stories. Because honestly, enemy agents falling in love mid-mission, sharing glances, slow motion music, that's not espionage. That's Kasauti Zindagi Ki Intelligence Edition. At one point, it felt like missions were secondary and relationship status was primary. Durandhar 2 removes all of that and reminds you that this is not romance, this is shadow warfare. And that brings me to the most important thing the film gets right. The life of a spy. No recognition, no applause, no interviews, just sacrifice, balidan. People leaving families, living fake lives, carrying pressure most of us can't even imagine. If they succeed, nobody knows. If they fail, nobody acknowledges. Now, quick spoiler warning. Just skip the next 30 seconds if you haven't watched the film. Look at Jaskirat or Hamza. He builds a life in Pakistan. He has a wife, Yelena. He also has a son. And then he leaves them behind permanently. No dramatic reunion plan, no sequel promise, just gone. And when he comes back to India, what does he do? No hero's welcome. His family, he sees that his mother and sister have moved on. And on top of that, he faces scrutiny because officially he was on a death row. He was a death row convict. So if he goes back to his mother and his sister, again there will be a lot of media chatter. Again, if it was a regular Yash Raj movie, Yelena would have come back with him to India. He would have reunited with his family. There would have been background music, songs, and the problem would have been solved. Two families, one hero, full entertainment. But Durandhar 2 says no. This is the cost, and that truth hits harder than any dialogue. And here's something nobody is talking about: execution. And if you combine both the movies, it's around 8-hour narrative. So that means 10 to 12 hours of footage completed in just 16 months. No delays, no excuses. No part 2 coming after your kids have grown up. Just execution. So whether this movie wins awards or not, but it deserves one for execution alone, because this is filmmaking with discipline. And when you think about it, it becomes even more impressive knowing that Aditya Dar is reportedly dyslexic, which means the traditional process of structuring, writing, processing information is not straightforward. And yet, this level of clarity, that's not just talent, that's vision. And yes, even legends like S.S. Rajamouli and Sukumar might want to take notes on execution speed, not storytelling, execution. Because now the question is not, can we make great films? It's, can we make great films without taking forever? And Durandhar 2 answers that flamboyantly. You see South filmmakers openly praising it, but Bollywood, there's absolutely deafening silence. Not criticism and not appreciation, just silence. Because acknowledging this film means questioning the entire ecosystem. And that's uncomfortable. So no, this is not a review. This is a moment. A moment where Indian cinema stops pretending and started telling the truth. And the question now is, who adapts and who keeps making the same film again and again, just with better lighting and louder music? And before I end, one last reminder. If you have watched till here and you are still not subscribed, you are that 99%. Let's reduce that number. Hit the subscribe button, and if you like the video, press the like button and share the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Goodbye until next time.